Alright, I'm going to make a video because on one of the Carcano pages on Facebook or something, somebody posted a picture of their rifle and said it was broken and there's something wrong with it, and they were asking questions, and it is something I ran across and I wish to address it. The gun isn't really broken, it's been modified. So let's start with the basic Carcano action. Okay, 1891. And it is a modified Mannlicher style rifle. And truthfully, even though it was adopted in 1891, it is actually a modified design of a much earlier gun, an 1880s style gun. And what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, it's a split bridge here. Okay, the older guns did that because your handle, if your locking lugs failed, your handle would be the third locking lug. Okay? And as we know, when we open it, to get a little closer here, and we'll examine this. Okay, when we open it, we all fairly well understand how this works. And this is our little magazine follower, this arm here, okay? And we all know how the Mannlicher style system works. You put your clip into the gun to load it, and then when your 6 shots, or if you got one with 5, is done, the clip will drop out, and the magazine follower lift arm stays right down in there where it is, and when you cycle this action, nothing in it, the bolt does not stay open. Okay, it wasn't until Mauser and other rifles, and it was in the 1890s, and that you see it with the Swiss gun, the early 1889 rifle, and actually 1896 did not have a bolt hold open feature. That came later, and with a box magazine, all they do is change the floor plate of the magazine to where it'll stick up, and then the bolt will not hit it. Well, the way the Carcano is designed, you can't change that. So this little cavalry carbine that I bought, and I bought this years ago at a gun show. Okay, when I got it, it didn't have a bayonet, it was rusty, and it does have, other than a military front sight on it. So that means that this gun was sold surplus. It doesn't have an importation mark. It was built in 1936, and you can tell from the stock I leave them just the way they are. A lot of dings, dents. This gun was carried by someone. This gun was used. Okay. Actually, the bore on this is not too terrible. All right. I just got it because I got it practically for nothing. You know, back in them days where Carcanos were popular. So I got it, took it home, cleaned it up. The bore looked a little weird, but after I fired a box of shells through it, it's clean. No pits, no nothing. But here's the thing about this gun. This gun, like I said, this gun was fooled with. Probably on the civilian market with that little sight. Somebody bought this years ago and replaced the sight. Okay? But this weapon also could have been used by somebody post-war in actual military conflict. What we don't realize is after World War II, through the late 40s, the 50s, there was a lot of conflicts and small conflicts. There were a lot of men who served in the war in all different types of countries. They had no home to go back to. The devastation of World War II was terrible. And there were, and that's when they said, post-World War II, and then when they were decolonizing Africa and that is when the modern mercenary came back. And the thing is, when you go fight you can't go back to your country, so you're traveling around. Somebody hires you to go to, the Congo, okay, or something, or somewhere in Algeria to help fight against rebels, under the table cash up front. And so you go there, and it's kind of like, well, we'll give you, French fatigues and these Italian rifles is what we got, or whatever, So, people may have used these guns outside of Italy somewhere else. So, interesting thing about this gun is when you pull it back and push it forward, it won't close. And somebody found something like this and said, hey, my gun is broken. The gun's not broken. What happened here, I'll get up close and take a look at this. Alright, we have our two rifles. On the bottom here is the one that's normal. And if you look, that magazine lifter arm or follower arm is well below the receiver. You can see it there. When you go to the one on the top, it's obvious it's higher. And as you see, it sticks up. What someone did was they didn't like the idea that this gun did not have a bolt hold open. They bent the follower arm to where now, when one tries to close the bolt, you come up and it hits the bolt. Okay, so now you have, when you're empty, you have bolt hold open. This is what you would call a field modification or something. Someone did this because they used this gun in combat, and they didn't like the idea that they didn't have a hold open. They wanted to know under a stressful situation, even though, yeah, maybe it dropped out, maybe sometimes the clip doesn't drop out, but you want to know in the last instance. Okay, I can't hold the camera and operate this. So what you want to do is you want to know, hey, I'm out, okay? And then you would know to put your other clip in and depress it. And the gun does function normally with that bent up there. You might have to fool with it, but the gun does work normally. That is like a modification done by someone. And this is the only one I've seen like it. I think in the past, years ago, I may have had some that were modified. Okay, which, if that's the case, then probably way back in the old days, when a bunch of these came in from a certain area, okay, whoever used them did that to have a 5-shot, after the last round, have a hold open in it. So that's what that is. That's a modification. It's not standard. Okay, and I don't think, like I said, I think I've run across one like this years ago, because I had a bunch of them when I was a teenager. I used to buy Carcanos and that. And probably it was used somewhere, and they modified them like that to have the 5-round hold open. So the gun isn't broken. Actually, it's pretty neat to have that. It's a type of post-war or personal modification. And all you got to do is reach down in there, push that down, let it slide over. But this one functions fine. I never seen the need to change that. I leave it as is. I just got to remember that this one has that in there. You don't want to, and I don't think anybody really rapid fires a Carcano, but that's where it came from, guys. So your gun's not broken. It was just a modification, a soldier's modification, or somebody somewhere along the line did that little trick. So now when your last round's gone, your bolt stays open and you know you're empty.